Alrighty then, here we are in the Redwoods, and we are going to use the FRYBAKE Dutch oven. Let me just give you a second to look at this tree right here. Whoa, dude, that's tall. 4,000 years old. Alright. Okay, check it out. Alright, the basic concept behind the FRYBAKE Dutch oven is that it's made of aluminum, it's lightweight, 8 inches wide. What you see here is I've got meat, an egg, potatoes, and some greens with some pepper in here. This is for people who don't eat top ramen. Okay, I've got the Evernew mug pot here. And this is for people who eat top ramen. Okay, this is for people who don't eat top ramen. Now, Evernew makes a frying pan, but this frying pan is specifically for Dutch ovens. It's made of aluminum, and aluminum spreads the heat out more evenly than titanium. So titanium gets hot fast and cools off fast, but it doesn't spread the heat out as evenly as aluminum, and aluminum is also light. So this is not ultra lightweight, it isn't extremely small, it's just small, it fits in your pack, and it is light, and it's for an oven. Now the other issue is ease of use, okay? So you sacrifice weight with comfort. You sacrifice comfort with weight, and as you can see, the Esbit stainless, which is small, it doesn't really fit twigs, okay? So if you wanted to put a wood fire in here, you'd have to wait 20 minutes for these sticks to burn down before you can put your food on the stove. So this is for ease of use. It's just a lot easier to put this lid on here and light a fire on here and just let it burn for an hour than it is to try to cook putting wood underneath the frying pan. So if you use a fire stove that's small, where the stove goes underneath the frying pan, it's really difficult to get this wood into that stove. You have to lift the pan off, you have to put it back on. It interrupts your cooking time. It's just a lot harder. Also, you know, the FRYBAKE, it doesn't have a handle. All right, so I want to show you some other ideas about cooking. Okay, we've got the Sea to Summit kettle here, which is kind of like in competition with the Evernew. It is collapsible, but it's not really that light. It's got a funny plastic lid that cracks. Also, you can't use a wood fire with this because it'll burn the silicone on the side. So let's just ditch this. All right, the Bugaboo. This is a stainless steel non-stick frying pan from GSI. It's awesome. It more or less guarantees your ability to cook food. It's a normal frying pan, but it is a little bit heavier. You know, this isn't something that you would carry if you're really concerned about weight. Okay, so like the FRYBAKE, it is lighter than this. The ultralight company Evernew is going to make a frying pan that's lighter than the FRYBAKE, but the GSI is heavier. So let's just get rid of that. Okay, now we've got liquid fuel and solid fuel. Okay, now my argument is that fuel canisters are difficult to buy. There's plenty of people on YouTube who say it's really easy to buy fuel canisters. I don't think it is. I had to drive for 40 minutes to buy yellow heat from a auto parts store, and when they found out what I was using it for, they didn't even want to sell it to me. Okay, this is the same weight as beer or vitamin water or any other liquid. It isn't lightweight. It also leaks. It also is highly flammable. Also, supposedly, you can put liquid fuel into your little liquid fuel burner here and just cap it like that. That causes the burner to kind of rust and corrode, and it fills up the holes with corrosion, and the thing doesn't work. Also, the yellow heat like evaporates in your pack. So when you get to where you're going, this thing is like empty. It's got no fuel in it. The holes are corroded. It doesn't work that great. Evernew makes an ultra lightweight version of this that's like the best ever made. But what's the point? By the time you carry your liquid fuel, it's too heavy anyway. Let's just get rid of that, okay? All right, so solid fuel. This is expensive. These cost the same as a cup of coffee. And by the time you put enough of them into your pack to cook all the time, it's heavy. Okay, so this costs money, it's heavy, and it's also difficult to buy. You have to buy them at REI. They're not easy to get. I don't really think it's a great idea. So let's just, so here's the top ramen idea, okay? Let's just get rid of that. And now we're back to the FRYBAKE, okay? We've got just the Dutch oven here. Now, I think that a titanium version of this is a good idea. Can get the Evernew frying pan and get a Snow Peak titanium plate and put the Snow Peak 7.5-inch titanium plate on top of the 6.5-inch titanium frying pan and do the same thing with titanium smaller and lighter. But for today, let's try this out. I'm gonna put some twigs on here. I'm gonna use this solid fuel cube and light this up, put some twigs on here, and I'm gonna burn it for 1 hour. And I'm gonna see if it'll cook what I've got here. I've got meat, potatoes, greens, an egg, and some pepper. For me, when I have no money, I go to the store, I buy a potato, I buy some chicken, I buy an egg. For me, that's cheap food. I have never eaten top ramen. I don't really think eating top ramen is a good idea. It is just sugar without the sugary taste. You know, bread and pasta is just sugar. Sugar is good for you. It causes your muscles to plump up. It does fill your brain with glucose. But it doesn't have a lot of vitamins and minerals. If you're gonna eat cheap food, you might as well eat meat, potatoes, egg, greens, you know, like this. This is what I think is normal. This is cheap food, okay? I'm gonna try to cook it just by putting a twiggy fire on here. I'm gonna keep the fire going for an hour, and I'm just gonna see if it works. I'm gonna see if I can cook this cheap food. I'm gonna see if I can cook this meal. Okay, so that solid fuel cube did make it really easy to light this twiggy fire. It kind of smelled like shrimp, and it was difficult to light, but as you can see, my twiggy fire is already started. All right, so I think that this is a great example showing how difficult it is to cook with wood. The aluminum top to that Dutch oven, it really doesn't stick to the twigs. So when you add fire to it, when you add sticks to this fire, the sticks roll around right away. They roll right off, or they slide off. It's difficult to get the sticks on there. And I think that if you use a stove, a little tiny ultra lightweight stove with where you put the sticks underneath the frying pan, that's just gonna make it double or triple as hard. It's not easy, and you got to keep an eye on this thing. You got to add wood to it like every 10 minutes, and each time you add wood, you run the risk of knocking the sticks off of there and just you know, it's like a game of Jenga. The sticks will just roll right off and they're on fire. This is a real easy way to put a hole in your jacket, you know, because you got to stick your hands in there and the flames can kind of catch onto the sleeves of your jacket. Right now I got to add some more sticks already. So yeah, there it is. So as some people can probably already guess, my fire just went out, but I'm blowing on it and it's coming back on. But yeah, I mean, for me, this is a real eye-opener as to how difficult this is. You see that? It's lighting back up. All right, so here's another issue with cooking with wood. All right, this is the Laplander, which is a wood saw that goes in your backpack. It's for cutting wood. So say if you wanted to use a little tiny wood stove that goes underneath the frying pan, you could make yourself wood pellets with this. This is what you would need to cut your sticks real short. But what would be the point of that? What's the point of carrying a little tiny stove if you're gonna carry a humongous knife? So this is really a labor of love, man. I mean, this is really for people who don't want to eat at Waffle House. You got to put a lot of sticks on here, and it makes a huge mess. The wind is really helping because the wind blows away the ash and opens up a lot of space and keeps the fire burning. But as you can see, it's a mess. And you just got to keep putting sticks on there every 5 or 10 minutes. All right, so that was 1 hour. It made a huge mess. Had to put a ton of little sticks on there. The top of that FRYBAKE is hot. I accidentally touched it just for a second. It is real hot. But it has been cooking for an hour, so if it's gonna cook, it's cooked. If it's not gonna cook, it's not cooked. I mean, 45 minutes is a long time to cook your food in the oven in the kitchen. 1 hour inside the FRYBAKE I think is fine. I'm gonna let this fire burn out and let the food kind of cool down in there, and then I'm gonna see if the food is done and see how it tastes. All right, so it's been about 20 minutes and the lid cooled off, but the food is still hot. This aluminum pan is still kind of warm, and the food is still warm, and the food looks good. There it is. All right, let's try it. I'm gonna try these potatoes. Boiled potatoes. Yeah. It's cooked. I mean, those are really soft potatoes. I would say overcooked. Let's see. Yeah. The broccoli is hearty, and the potatoes are overcooked. So, yeah, it works. You know, it's something to think about. The Dutch oven, this is obviously the easiest way to cook your food. So just be aware, you know, it makes a huge mess. It isn't discreet. It makes a fire. You have to keep the fire going for about 45 minutes to an hour. It's hot. Even after you take the fire off of here, it isn't like titanium. It doesn't cool down right away. It stays hot for about 20 minutes. So, you know, just be aware of all of this. But this is really the easiest way to cook your food without fuel. I can't imagine that there's any easier way. And pretty much every other way is a lot harder than this. You know, carrying your fuel is hard. It's going to make you sweat. It's difficult to buy, etc. Putting the wood underneath your food, that's also really difficult. The easiest way to do it is to put your fire on top of the food. I really don't see any reason not to. The food is cooked. The aluminum did get real hot. This lid, the NOLS lid, it got real hot. I touched it with my fingers for a second. It's basically exactly the same thing as a toaster oven. If you've ever cooked food in a toaster oven, this is a toaster oven that you put in your backpack. Yeah, it's not titanium. It isn't 6 ounces. But it is possible to make one of these only 6 ounces. You can get the ever new 6.5-inch frying pan, which is 4 ounces. And then you can get the Snow Peak 7.5-inch titanium Trek plate, which is 2 ounces. That's 6 ounces. I'm not sure what the weight of this is, but it's heavier than that. But it's also very, very functional. It's specifically designed for this. And even though it isn't ultra lightweight, it is very lightweight. And it does cook your food. It does work. And you can just put anything you want in here. You could cook a cake. You can cook chicken, steak, anything, breakfast, anything you want. So, you know, that's just something to think about. You can't check your food. So, you know, I put water in here to prevent myself from burning the food because you can't flip it or check it. Once you put the lid on, you're stuck with it. You know, you just want to cook it for whatever duration you're going to cook it. If you think you only need to cook for 30 minutes, then go ahead and cook for 30 minutes. I recommend at least 45 minutes. I put water in my food to prevent the food from burning. My food tastes a little overcooked at 1 hour, so I guess 45 minutes maybe would be better. But I am impressed. It does work. And the possibility of me carrying this gear item in my pack is going up. You know, I am really thinking seriously about bringing this with me if I were to live out of my pack, traveling on the Oregon Coastal Trail, or if I wanted to hike part of the PCT or the John Muir Trail. This obviously might be the easiest thing to bring in order to cook food. It does leave a trace. It isn't really like a leave no trace type of piece of kit. The fire is on here. It's on the lid instead of on the ground, which does reduce some of the mess. But as you can see, I mean, there's ash and sticks everywhere. If people are camping downwind from you, they're going to get a face full of ash. It makes a big mess. So just be aware of that. But yeah, it works. It's awesome.